Welcome back to French Countryside Life. Got the tree surgeons here, got Matt on the end now. And Jack.
Under my hat, Jacamo.
Jacamo.
Max.
And Max.
That's it. Hello YouTube.
Hello YouTube.
So, as promised, the guys turned up today to take care of the big oak tree that we've looked at before. And take down a couple of trees over there. So, I'm sure they'll get that done. So they're having their French breakfast this morning of caramel eclairs.
And I can't eat.
And a cup of tea. So it's a hybrid.
All the
British and French kind of hybrid.
Yeah.
all the major food groups there.
Absolutely.
So good. So Matt, you've been in France for how long?
2016, so 6 years.
So 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
Yeah. And so you've pretty much grown up here, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he's 17 now, aren't you? So you still only came when you were just after 10.
Yeah.
I was 11 when we came, yeah.
So,
I've had both cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with both of them.
Yeah.
Max has been here longer than he was in the UK, haven't you?
Since I was a little whippersnapper,
Really?
Yeah.
about 5.
Yeah. And so Max did. He went through education system, came out as from university, and then has decided to meander,
Yeah.
steer off,
Yeah.
tangentialise into, or bumped into me. And I just arrived, wanted to do tree work
Yeah.
from having done it in the UK, and yeah, it took a while though. It wasn't straight away. So I
Yeah,
was working
it
here
does take a
pretty
while,
much
doesn't
on
it?
my own for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Literally only working with people who were interested in work. They weren't interested in trees at all.
Yeah.
Whereas the context now is we're actually all really interested in trees.
Yeah.
And we have Jack, who's not with us today because he's back at the MFR doing his school week.
Yep.
And he's in his second year apprenticeship. And we're all interested in working on trees because we want to work on trees. It's very
Yeah. No, it's good,
specific.
isn't it? Yeah.
So yeah,
passionate
when I
about what
bumped
we
into
do.
Max, it was an absolute enjoyment because it meant I found somebody who just immediately was interested in trees and the natural environment, and that was a significant change, because up until that point, anybody who was labouring for me, all they were doing was just labouring for me,
Just working as opposed to.
not really interested in what I was doing or why I was doing it at all.
Yeah.
And that made me a lot more happy.
Yeah, of course.
Very
Yeah.
happy.
So what did you do back in the UK?
This.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I started in. Well, it's always a bone of contention with me and the missus,
Right.
whether I was 29 or 30 when we met.
Oh,
because it was the
I
point
think
at
probably
which
29, I
started-
think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you've been lying to me about your age.
Yeah.
So I met her in London while I was doing a work placement for tree work course that I was doing.
Okay.
So I was doing a tree work course, and we were climbing trees for Glendale Countryside.
Okay.
And Ealing Borough Council,
Right.
and she was au pairing, and she was in the house next door.
Okay.
So I literally opened the curtains in the house, and there was this rather fit young lady sunbathing in the garden.
So it's
And it was an obvious, very necessary set of circumstances. Fit young lady, must go and see her.
so
Yeah.
it was literally the girl next door.
Absolutely, and
How lovely! What a lovely
that
story.
was what I was. It is lovely because she had arrived there from up north, because she just literally dropped. She had to finish the au pair job she was doing, and she had been hunting for an au pair job somewhere else. And literally, we arrived not even a month beforehand in the house next door to where she was au pairing. So I just randomly rented this house with these lads from college. And then she had just got this au pair job, and so literally arrived next door to one another. Super sweet when you
Brilliant.
think about it.
Yeah,
Super
yeah.
sweet,
Yeah.
yeah.
So after necessary
After,
refreshments.
Absolutely.
So
After
what's
necessary refreshments. Well,
what's the plan?
the plan is, it's nice to look at the tree from this perspective, because as you point out, you've got the dead branch there, and there's another one there, and there's another small one there. Max is going to basically divide the tree up into 4 and spend roughly an hour on each section of the tree, hunting down all the dead branches and investigating at the same time, just looking for dysfunctional tissue to see if we can find any reason why you had the branch drop.
Yeah.
Any reason why the there is dieback in the crown. But
Didn't you say that it's a cyclical thing as well? That it, you know,
can be,
that
most definitely, yeah, absolutely, and we can prevent that. So yeah, dependent on the age of the tree, and I'd said the tree's between 50 and 150 years old, and the reason I say it like that is because no arborist will tell you the exact age of a tree from looking at it.
Yeah, of course.
Because you can't.
Yeah.
The only way to tell is to either cut it down
Yeah.
or take a core sample out of it.
Yeah.
So you give a spectrum that relates. But yeah, it's it's a 100-year-old tree-ish.
Yeah.
And it's still young in that cycle.
Yeah.
If it was the cycle that we were talking about, that's between 300 and 500 years long, that cycle is.
Right.
Where a tree will go into a stag's head,
Yep.
its crown will deteriorate and disappear, and it'll grow an entirely new crown from underneath the stag's head.
Right.
We can stop that happening by pruning out all the dead wood
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
and just maintain the tree.
All right.
And so long as the tree has got good conditions in which its feet are standing, so it's not too wet, it's not too dry, it's got nice humus in the soil and plenty of fungal interactions in the soil from mycorrhiza, it should just carry on growing.
Yeah.
But in this case, it just seems like it's just got something that's not right.
Yeah.
Something's not quite right.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll see,
really
won't we?
nice to try and,
Have
even
a
if we
look.
can't pinpoint any specifics,
Yeah.
because there isn't one thing that's doing it, it's just a series of circumstances. Because, like we said, we've had a really dry summer,
Yep.
really dry,
Really hot
summer,
as well,
really
yeah.
hot,
Mm.
and then we have had a couple of torrential downpours occasionally now since.
Yep.
We've had a couple of proper good
Yeah, yeah.
storms come through. And that would lead to like a summer branch drop type thing.
Okay.
Heavy branches really laden with leaves, but they're dry and brittle, and then suddenly it rains, and then the leaves rehydrate and add all the weight back.
Right.
The timber takes much longer to rehydrate,
Right.
and it's brittle, and then you get a wind that lifts it and drops it, and that'll take branches off just
Yeah.
randomly, perfectly healthy branches. But the one that was on the floor over there,
Yeah,
Max
it's
and
still
I
there,
just
yeah.
had another discussion about it,
Right.
and it looks like there was a hazard beam forming there, which is a horizontal split.
I think you told me about that before. Yeah, it's very
which
interesting.
opens
Yeah.
up like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and as the branch bends, it creates a form, that sort of form, and they are quite common from being whiplash on the end of a branch,
Yeah,
kind of loaded and unloaded like that.
Yeah.
That
So the
form.
shape of the branch, if it's
Yeah.
curving upwards like
That's
that,
it,
it's got
that's
much
it.
more likelihood of
puffing
forming a hazard beam. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
So
we
it
can
is-
cross section it and have a
see.
look.
That's it,
All right. Brilliant.
So what I've done is I've used the throw line here with a weighted bag on the end of it to launch through the tree, making sure to catch a nice sturdy branch union, and then use the lightweight line to hoist my rope up and over through that crotch. Then I climb on single rope technique, which is when you're climbing on one single strand, whereas traditionally in the tree care industry you'd be on a loop of rope, where you'd be anchored to the rope here. The rope will go to the tree, and you'd be anchored to the rope again on a double rope technique. So what I'm going to do now is tie the rope to the base of the tree. Just on a bowline, a running bowline. Which should be backed up by at least a half inch or a double fisherman's if you're feeding extra paranoid. And then that'll give me a choke on the tree on this line. So now I can climb on this one. All the rest is up.
It's that easy.
So this is a friction hitch.
Okay. Can you do that again? Sorry, I know
Yeah.
you've just done it.
Absolutely, yeah, no worries. Really enjoy talking about this. When I was in university, I remember someone who was studying sociology say people just always love to talk about what they do for a living because it's what they do all day. So
Sure.
it's like if you enjoy your job, then you just like to talk about it. So this is a split tail, and it allows us to hitch ourselves to the rope. I'm going to tie a distal here, which is it's not the most simple one, but it's one that I like because it works well with pulleys. So what I do, I'll just do it again a bit more slowly. So I've just crossed it over the rope here. I've gone under and then all the way up, creating a sort of loop here, which I'm just going to make wraps round now and pass it through a few times. The more wraps, the more friction. And this is quite an old technique with which I think was, well, it was invented by a guy called Prusik, the first one, but that's the Prusik knot. So this is a variation of that knot, and this can go up and down on the rope like this, which is how I will be hitched to the rope. But if you pull down on it, it won't budge. And I say it won't budge. It will budge if you put enough force on it, but it won't budge just because of my body weight.
Yeah. So there's a level of friction on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the different knots will have different. So for instance, a Blake's hitch is a different type of friction hitch. That one will not give if you put, say, a ton of force on it. That's a bad thing because if anything happens and a ton of force is exerted on my system, I want it to give so that I'm not caught in the middle of that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So that's my distal there, and now
Brilliant.
I'm just going to add some extra gizmos. So this is a rope wrench which allows SRT work, single rope technique, by adding friction. I wouldn't need this if I was doing double rope technique. And then this is a pulley which will sit on the bottom, which allows me to tend the slack with one hand, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So that's our system set up there. Like so if I didn't have the pulley, I would have to grab the rope with one hand and hoist this up with the other hand, so it would be a two-handed operation. Whereas with the pulley on, I could be I have this anchored to me, and I can use one hand
Right.
to pull the system up the rope like so.
Yeah. It's simple yet technical at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah. It's simple physics.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's basic physics, isn't it?
Yeah.
The
But
power of friction.
It's very interesting. Yeah, absolutely. And we use friction in rigging heavy branches down as well. With
Right.
Set up with a quarter wrap at the base of the tree,
Hmm.
and that's how we take heavy loads out of trees
Yeah.
by using friction, so
Hmm.
that someone can hold a ton
Yep.
of weight just with their bare hands.
Hmm.
It's really interesting stuff.
It is, yeah.
Messing about with physics, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Don't go any further forward though. And how far up does it go?
The
Wow.
wall here
Look
is
at
quite
that.
big.
Look at that. Awesome. Where's
Just-
the breaker bar? Nothing somewhere on the floor here, because we can show, here it is. Like I said,
Ah, there's the wall.
a cone. Yeah, okay. So it's probably going up to about there. So here's the wall.
I think it probably goes down further than it goes up,
down,
doesn't
yeah,
it?
it
Yeah.
does look like it, yeah. That's awesome. Properly awesome.
It's good for Jack to see as well.
It is, it's perfect. It's perfect learning environment. Yeah. Yeah, and I really like the idea of doing, I've been umming and ahhing about filming and umming and ahhing about YouTube channel, and all that has been a process. I think you've been the convincing factor.
Good.
Yeah. That's really awesome. So the black line's a barrier 4. It's trying to stop that. So it started here, I would have assumed.
The cambium's decayed here.
Yeah, look at that. And
It's left
this
a
is
hole.
active, this is in progress. The tree is actually rotting this away as we speak. It rotted that away some time ago. And the black lines, I think, are barrier 4. So this decay first, and it's spread into this. And look here, here's your perfect example. Look, there's your black line of the first infection being as it's rotted out this side. And then it's just spread that way into the tree.
Yeah, and there's
Awesome. It's like
It's
sponge,
almost tear us
and this
apart.
really shows you. This is probably one of the most exciting bits. This really shows you how fungi and wood pulp can form to make cardboard replacements. We can use this to make egg boxes and
As opposed to
crates
using
for
chemical
packaging.
processes.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. It's a non-chemical constructor. If you
Yeah.
like. Yeah. Really, really cool. You use it for packaging for soft items.
Yeah.
And once it's finished, once you can microwave it once you want it to stop. So you allow the fungi to do what you want it to do, and then you can microwave it and kill the fungi off, and then it remains static in that condition.
Right.
It doesn't rot any further. And then you've suddenly got a really nice, stable packaging material to put your high-value objects, like your cameras and tripods and all that stuff, in your packaging inside this material. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
Brilliant.
How easy that was.
Yeah, just ripping bits out of it.
Yeah,
Come on then,
she's-
Jacamo.
Right.
Chop it up. I tell you what, I'll make a criticism of Max, which is a worthy criticism.
Okay.
Right. The criticism of Max is he wants
Constructive
to do too well.
criticism. Okay.
Yeah, he wants to do too good a job.
Well, that's all right.
It is.
I can
it
live with
is.
that.
I have to rein him in.
Yeah,
I have to say, well, okay, but I've only given you this many hours to work.
Yeah.
You've got to constrain yourself to those hours.
Yeah.
Because it just gets better and better. The job he did the day before yesterday was on a mulberry tree, and it was just a beautiful job he did. Really nice. Really nice.
That just broke off, didn't it?
Well, no, that broke off because of how he cut it.
Right.
He's cut from one side like this.
Oh, I see,
and
yeah,
then he's
I can
come
see
over
actually,
the top
yeah.
of it like that. We
Yeah.
call it a step cut.
Yeah.
And the idea being is that you can leave a piece of wood in, put your saw away, grab the log, and snap it and drop it.
Right.
And I love it. When I see myself on videos, I can hear my Dudley accent. Oh,
Yeah.
it's great. Which pocket's it in, Max?
spoke to Max after he came down from the oak tree, and he said that whilst he was up there, as you can see, he was able to reach across to the lime tree, which grows in the chicken run. And he took some seed pods from the top of the tree, stuck them in his pocket, as you can see, and their plan is to grow some saplings from the seeds, and whenever they cut a tree down, they will offer to plant a tree, which I thought was a great idea. Okay, so we've just been, or I've just been called over to show the potential reasons for the decline in the tree.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why we came here, the reason why we ended up in this environment was because we see what this it's got a name and I can't remember what it's called. It's like sassafras or frass or something. They call it, it's beetle activity. This is a critter.
Friss.
Friss, that's it.
Yeah,
And it's
get
chewing
that
up,
with woodworm.
yeah, it's chewing up the tree, and that's what there was a little bundle of it here.
Yeah.
And if you can see it there.
Yeah, I can see
it
it.
is, right?
Yeah.
The bugs
So
have
us
told
just the
where to
bugs
look,
told us where to look.
essentially, and here's the
Yeah.
culprit,
And there you are. Yeah.
which is just over there.
Over there.
through to-
So what we found is we found a bootlace entering the tree here. Look, it's growing, it's coming out from the tree or going into the tree here.
Right.
And basically that is a rhizomorph from an Armillaria species fungi, so honey fungus family. And yeah, there's a bit of soft wood. Yeah, there is soft wood there. Right, but we do know, what we do know is that it's not the death sentence of the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a warning sign for us that if we want to look after the tree and keep the tree, that we have to take action, and the action is to treat the roots with mycorrhizal fungi.
Right.
Because what a tree is able to do, using its 4 defence mechanisms, or four methods of controlling the rate of decay within it, is able to grow alongside a fungi.
Right.
And actually the tree can exist there for many decades to come still, so long as it's really vigorous and so long as it's able, you saw the black lines, you saw the level of decay in the cherry stump over there, you've got good wood on the outside of it, and that's why it hadn't fallen over yet. And if it can put a really solid barrier 4 down, which is from vigour, and it's got to be strong enough to do it, then the fungi will just exist inside the trunk.
Okay.
And so long as the vascular system of the roots are kept intact because they're really healthy, then it will be all right. We'll be happy because you'll be much
Just
more than
going back to something that we were talking about earlier. I was a chauffeur for many years.
Yeah.
And when I used to go to the hotels pick someone up, the concierge would, if there wasn't a very good concierge, they'd phone them up and say, your taxi's here.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't a taxi.
No.
Right.
Yeah. How annoying.
I wasn't a taxi. Taxis are a very honourable way to earn a living, but I wasn't a taxi, I was a chauffeur.
Yeah.
And I referred to you as tree surgeons earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Interesting point.
I've been educated. And
Big stick.
you're actually arboriculturalists.
Arboriculturalists.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just explain to me the difference between arboriculturists and tree
It's a
surgeons.
traditional difference, and it's been one that is evolving in America and the UK, and I guess here as well, but here more so because of the Latin meaning of arboriculture and arborist. But in the UK, your tree surgeon was a person that has been, or for many years, as the arboricultural industry has been uplifted and been more present in the minds of tree owners and the public. The differentiation is that a tree surgeon is limited to a person who is competent with the use of a chainsaw and competent with the use of ropes to climb a tree. but that's the level of their knowledge, is just simply how to climb and how to use a chainsaw. An arborist is a person who has studied the physiology of the tree and the interaction between trees and pathogens. And the pathogens in this case, we have how dare it drop branches on me? We have honey fungus.
I was trying to tell you
mycorrhiza.
something.
It is exactly it. We have our friss from the beetles chewing the wood. We've got our dark bleeding cankers where we look like we've got fermenting bark or fermenting sap on that side, which is where the hornets are happy, because fermenting bark or fermenting sap is full of sugar and really accessible
alcohol,
sugars, alcohol, crazy hornets. But the point is that we as arboriculturists are studying the interactions between the tree and all the pathogens that can interact with it, and the environment in which the tree is standing. So we're understanding the relationship between trees and buildings, trees and other trees, trees and grass, trees and fungi, trees and insects. We understand those relationships.
So to sum up, we're going to be okay with this tree.
I think so.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't have the capacity to see into the future. But
Sure.
looking at what we see, the interaction is really relatively lightweight at the moment.
So thank you so much for coming.
You're very
You've
welcome.
done a fantastic
It is our
job,
pleasure.
really professional,
Pleasure.
really impressed with your standard of your work. Brilliant.
Thank you
So
very much.
if anybody wants to contact Matt, there'll be contact details below.
Yep.
And I believe there's a fledgling YouTube channel starting soon.
Matt Vaughan Arbour Care.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
So that'll be linked into. If anybody wants to make a donation to Lloyd's Tiki Bar, you'll find details below of coffee.com, and that'd be very much appreciated. So if you can leave a thumbs up and maybe share it on social media, press the notification bell, and maybe think about subscribing if you're not subscribed already. So all that leaves to say is mine, there you go, and I'll see you soon.